Okay, we're good. We're there. It's all good.
Easy.
Brilliant. Good intro. I'll cut that. Welcome, everyone, to the 12th episode of the Temple Podcast. With me here today is a very special guest. It's Mr. Tyson Panic, and then I'm going to crucify your last name here. Is it
It's like that.
Misak?
Actually, you did it perfect. Nice.
Oh, brilliant. Wow. Dude, I'm on fire here. I'm on fire here.
You had to do Moe, so you had to practice first.
Yeah. It's pure luck. I'll be honest. There's no real practice here at all. Anyway, how are you doing, man? Are you good?
I'm good. How about you? Apart from all that we just had to go through.
Yep. Apart from the massive process of making sure this actually works, I'm pretty good, man.
That's good.
So lovely Friday evening, or I guess it's evening where you are. It's about the middle for me. So
Seems right out there.
yep. Still good. I just want to preface this just because there is my whole roadway right now is being reworked. So if you can hear some vibrations in the air, it's because the entirety of my surrounding area is being torn to pieces. So that would be why that's happening. Anyway, we'll get into it. So the first time I saw you in a lineup was the Atletico lineup for me, and I remember it was the intro, those great intro videos with you and Infrequent that they did. Yeah. So, what was the your previous experience before that? Can you give me a run through of what that was coming up to that?
I genuinely can't even remember. Like before going into that team, it was just a lot of like I think I played one CGI season with Mad Like Wizards where we got absolutely fisted the entire time. We didn't win anything.
Yeah,
it was actually fucked. And yeah, I can't remember if I played in another team after that. Maybe like a couple of like 2 weekers because just always running into issues.
Yeah.
I was. But yeah, I think Atletico was like my first real team. Really, I don't think there was anything before that anyone would remember.
And was there
was like 2 days, I think.
Was there a connection that got you into Atletico, or was that just
the Atletico thing was like a huge fuck around, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I was meant to play with them at an ESL event before, like I think like a year before I actually ended up joining them, and there was just like a huge breakdown in communications, and I like spat the dummy basically, and like on Twitter was like, fuck this, I'm out, like I'm not playing the game anymore, and just like basically peaced out, and then came back like 3 days later. But I played this event, I think it was the Zowie Extremes LAN qualifiers.
Mm-hmm.
So Flix had a wedding, and then someone had something else going on one of the days, so I played the qualifiers knowing I'd go to the LAN, and basically it was orchestrated that somehow I was getting into the team in place of Badge, I think. And then then it changed, and Jesse became a free agent, and then PDG wanted Jesse, and it was just a mess. Like I went to that LAN not knowing I was going to join a team. No one knew anything was going to change, and we all got home, and the team like lost 2 players.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Frantic time. So you talk about there how like things like that obviously I imagine get to pretty much anyone when you join all these lineups. That's obviously a quite common occurrence in Australian Counter-Strike is, you hear these lineups and how they only really last like a season maybe of MDL, and then suddenly we're switching everything out. So what do you think is like some of the main reasons why we always get these switches coming in and out of teams?
I think it's happening less. Like you see like teams like Greyhounds and like Order just sitting on their members, and I think that's probably due to like they're actually getting paid. Because before that it was just you just wanted to qual.
Yeah.
You wanted to qual for things, so you didn't have any reason apart from like winning to sit there and practice. So if you're not qualifying for things, you just look for the quickest like fix, which is everyone thinks it's just kicking a member because he can't hold this side or whatever the reason being. But now like you're getting paid to play pretty much all day for the most part, or practice like all afternoon or whatever. So people are putting in more effort, and to beat Greyhounds, like you wouldn't be able to just change a roster to beat them. So they've got the like top top spot, and everyone's trying to beat them now, and you have to practice to do that. So I think that's another huge part.
Do you see any teams right now, like in the Australian top scene, that you think could maybe take over that number one spot, or is there no real team or shot that you see with it?
The new Avant roster probably could, honestly.
Yeah.
It depends if how long they keep their form.
Yeah.
They're like when everyone starts a new team, everyone's keen. Oh, I'm excited. Like, oh, yeah, we're gonna be so good. We're gonna be the best. Like every single player has this conversation. Like the CGI, CJ, they all have this exact same conversation. They're gonna be the best in a week. And then for the first couple of scrims, are good, excellent. Oh, it's true. And then 2 weeks later, you fucking hate the people you're playing with, and you want to leave. And, like the honeymoon period, like see how they go after that, because might be good, might be bad. Like they got some strong personalities in that team, and they've got some like passive people as well. So I don't know. We'll see how it works. But Avant, like on paper, are really good. We versed them; they're fucking really good. So
yeah. They do seem to have whatever the system is working with right now on that Avant side. It's like you said. Obviously, you've got to keep in mind the honeymoon phase. You've seen it all the time with teams that especially when you get that new people coming in. It's almost like refreshing, and everybody starts to think, oh, okay, we've made it.
Excited.
Yeah. So, what I did want to talk about, though, is what I was just saw last night and what we will see this weekend. Well, it's not for certain, but recently, obviously, we had the minor where, once again, now, this is nothing taking away from Avant, right? They played really well, but Order seemed to be just constantly falling up short, right? So that you fall up short there against Avant. We go to MDL now. They fall up short against was it Order? Yeah, against Chiefs. Jesus. So just falling up short there, and they won the first map, didn't they?
Yeah, they 16-4'd them.
Yeah, exactly. So
I thought it was over.
Yeah, they look really good, and then just something happens where they seem to fall off and always can't. They just can't get past that final hurdle, and I'm just. Do you think there is a way they can get over it, or is it time for Order to start making some changes?
I don't know. Like, there's obviously like heaps of rumors about the organization and things like that.
Yeah.
But something's like because I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But something seems pretty off in that team for a while now. Like they have 5 really good players, but they also have like emotional players as well, and maybe someone's just like not sitting right, and it's just there could be some dynamic in that team where someone's just not happy, and it just like is making everything kind of just fall apart, because they used to be so good, and now like while they are still like very good, they've got like a lot of holes. They aren't playing as good as they were. Like I don't know what it is though. I don't know what the actual problem is from the outside, but it seems like it's an internal thing from my point of view.
Yeah,
but I could be completely wrong. I think they might just need to change like how they're playing. I don't know.
Yeah, that is always the case. Do you know how long that Order lineup has been together? I should be able to figure this one out, actually.
With Charlie, I think Charlie joined them when I joined Avant, so it'd be like
it's been a while.
6 months or something.
Yeah,
like longer than that, like a couple of months longer than that, probably.
Which is where I start to go, okay, how long do we have to give them before? Because I feel like second place isn't what you want, right? It's not. If you're serious about this, especially a team that's being paid, you can't be settling for second place all the time.
Yeah.
And how long do we give them before we say, okay, well, something has to change. Somebody has to come in. I mean, and this is the other problem is now that all these teams are starting to get really solid, like your Genuines and Ground Zeroes and Avants, and they're starting to get their really good lineups, it's going to close out that area of, okay, well, who can we pick from? Now, obviously, if there's a big difference between playing and playing to win with your mates and somebody giving you an offer and saying we'll pay you now, right? So there is always that, but it does feel like at this point the wars are kind of closing around that Order lineup, and if there's not,
I think it's
something
their individuality. Like when they were really good, they were playing like they play confident and they just take the fights and they kill you. Like that's what almost all their players do. So like when you see them win maps now, I always feel like there's someone just absolutely dropping on the other team. Like Hats is just like dropped 30, or Alice is just running around killing everyone. But I don't feel like they're playing like the best they can be together.
Hmm.
Like versing them, you're waiting for like someone to peek into you, or like maybe a flash peek or something like that. But you verse Greyhounds, like you're just getting absolutely fucked from everywhere. Like
Yeah.
it's just 5 people just fucking you. But Order is just one dude just like coming out and having to see what he can get. But
Mm.
like there's nowhere near as much team play, and I feel like that's kind of maybe where they're falling behind. They're not. They're still a bit too individual, where all the other teams are trying to catch up to where Greyhound are and what they're doing. Because I think if you put the 5 players against each other, like Order have as good, if not maybe a couple more better players than Greyhounds, like on paper, just like mechanically. But Greyhounds just work together so much better. Like they have everything set.
Yeah, it does seem like Greyhound right now are definitely the most well-rounded lineup when it comes to skill and then also being able to just play good CS. I did want to get your opinion on that Chiefs lineup as well, obviously, because they always come in with they just sometimes, especially let me get the date right here. Was it late 2018? When they had Moe in the roster, and it looked like it was gonna, they looked like they were right there, and it was gonna be the time, and finally they'd take it over, and Chiefs would be the new number one, and then obviously the roster changes came in
A week later.
yeah, and then so now we have this Chiefs lineup, and they're still good, right? And I think it's fair to say now that they're definitely the number two in that number two spot. But what do you think is the big difference between that Chiefs lineup and then the Greyhounds lineup?
I still think it's the team play aspect. Like we lost to them like 2 nights ago now, but it was like extremely close, and it's still a lot of like people just kind of running at you when they probably shouldn't. And I feel like Greyhounds just do that way less, especially when in a game that matters, like something like a qualifier. Like they're not gonna fuck around and waste money and drop guns when they don't have to. Like I feel like they just wouldn't do that. Like Dexter would just rip into whoever did that, and Urcast as well. But Chiefs, they will still like Dexter will, want that third kill or whatever, like because he's confident and that's what he'll do. But in the long run, it'll kill you, and especially with the new money system, like every gun you drop when you're winning is just hard, so hard, especially as a CT because the T's like constantly have guns now. It's so fucked. Like you get one full eco a half. So
has it
I
become?
still think it's that.
Has it made more maps CT sided? Do you think, or like even more extremely CT sided in the way that the gun drops now work?
Well, it's hard to say because the org is now like used everywhere,
Yeah.
and the org has just made everything so much more CT sided. So maybe it's still balanced in the way that it was, but like for different reasons. Like Ts now have the opportunity to buy way more, but CTs have like this ridiculous gun that just makes it so much easier. Like just as an example that I use to like kind of break it down for people, it's like if you're running up short on Mirage as a T, and there's a CT like at triple, and he shoots you with an M4, like just 2 taps you, you're like, oh fuck, nice shot.
Yeah.
Now we'll do with an org, just sitting there spraying your whole team down, and you kind of just like, fuck you, man. Like, fuck you. Like it's nothing now. And then on train, there's a dude sitting back green. He doesn't need an AWP anymore because there's 5 orgs. Like, what the fuck do you do? So it's I think it's still balanced, but it's just not balanced how it was before, honestly.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It's definitely a new meta. Would you?
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah,
I absolutely hate it. But what can you do?
Yeah,
I'll still use the orgs, but I'll hate it.
yeah. I hate myself for using them. So with this org in play, then, like you said, it kind of does balance it out with the way that the economy works for Ts. But would you said you didn't like the org, but what kind of change would you make to that weapon then? Do you think there is any kind of change that can be made to it that would not totally tilt it towards T side? Or at this point, is that org the only real thing that's holding up the CT side?
I think it'd be really hard if Ts could buy every round and you were just using M4. Like I think that'd be really rough.
Yeah.
But the org, like, it has the 1 kill potential when close, but it's not really where you're worried about it close. It's the long range angles where normally you'd be kind of worried about an orb. But train, like, the long angles on dust, like, some dude can just sit on A site now and just pick you off in pit. Like, it's hard. I don't know how you would balance that. Like, the only thing I can really think of is, like, remove the scope. It's like the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes it so good. There's nothing else about it really that makes it. It's the same as the A4. Like, in every other aspect, apart from the first kill and the scope. Like, how else would you balance it? Maybe less bullets. I don't know. But it's hard. Like, it's just such a strong gun.
Yeah, it does seem like it's in a situation right now where it's like a tower of cards, right? Where if you pull the wrong thing out, then it's all going to fall apart.
Yeah, you'll have the revolver again.
Yeah, yeah, revolver again, which would be not good. I don't want to go back to the Wild Wild West.
Or when
right?
they buffed the org, if you remember that, when they did actually buff the org.
Oh.
And it was faster, I think. It shot faster. It was...
Yeah. There's been some changes that have been...
It can definitely be worse, basically.
Do you follow any other esport other than Counter-Strike?
I used to watch, like, a bit of Dota, but now not really. Yeah. It's hard to even watch CS now. There's so much tournaments going on all the time.
Yeah.
Like, before you'd have, like, one a month or whatever, and it was easy to follow. Now there's, like, 6, and they're all different regions. I'm just like, I don't even know who these teams are. So sometimes I don't even watch CS. It's hard.
Especially when, with this whole, Blast Pro Series thing, with it's kind of separating the teams now, and I mean, all I want to do, the one big one right now is obviously Cologne that's coming up, which has them all. So it's like, okay, well, I'm definitely watching that. But it is crazy, like you said. Like before, every tournament you'd have everyone there, and it would be like, okay, we'll watch this week, and then next month we got this one, and that's how it would operate. But now you're getting like, it's just weird. It's like different
with one good team, and then like 3 tier 3s and 1 tier 2. You're just like, well, I'm not going to watch this because the tier 1 team's just going to run through them.
Yeah,
not like exciting or anything.
Yeah, and it is. Yeah, like you said, it's like. It's so slanted, but obviously right now, it's getting to this point now that Astralis is falling off, so we got all these teams coming up, and it does look a little bit more like, I mean, I've got no clue who's winning Cologne. And short of Astralis, kicking their ass into gear and dominating this Pro League finals, it seems like, who knows what's going to happen when it comes to this Cologne tournament. And anybody can take that, which is exciting, right? Because I feel like it's been a while since we had that. It was
nice to see someone else actually win, and not have Astralis just 2-0 them in the final.
Exactly, because we had this huge Astralis run, and then before that it was SK just dominating everyone, and then before that it was Fnatic. So it's been like this, this crazy line of just one team that's just outshining everyone else. And sure, there's little parts in between where there's upsets and maybe certain teams falling off and it's even, but it always does seem like one team will always come out on top. So the reason I brought up the other games is because sometimes I look at, obviously, I loosely follow League of Legends when I can, here and there, Dota as well. To be honest, Rainbow Six, if something's on, right, and I'm not doing anything, I'll chuck it on. It doesn't, I like to watch it. And it is, when you see certain changes come into these other games, I then look at Counter-Strike and I go, well, at least we're not getting champions coming into the game that are completely broken. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's definitely...
I looked at Fortnite the other week and I was like, what the fuck has happened here? Like, dudes are running around in hamster balls flying through the air.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They're pro players are saying they don't want to play on live stages. It's great. It really is.
Yeah. Like, at least you don't have that. Yeah.
Fortnite's
not that degree.
Top notch.
Vertigo isn't that bad.
Yeah.
It's bad, but not that bad.
It is bad. That's a good point, actually. I haven't even brought up Vertigo in a long time. Now, obviously, it's been in the map pool for a little bit, and you guys have played a few competitive matches on it. Is that correct?
No, I've played it at 3 pugs, and it's almost 40 minutes of me complaining, honestly.
Yeah.
Or falling off the map.
Yeah.
Because I hate it. I hate it so much. It doesn't make sense in any way, that map.
Yeah, when it first came in, I really wanted to be, because I don't know about you. I don't know what your opinion is on this, so I'll get it from you. But I always thought it would be nice if maybe every year we could get 2 new maps in. Do you know what I mean? And we have like a season of CS just to freshen it up a little bit. Maybe not 2, but maybe 1 new map. I don't know really the logistics of it, but I just always felt like it would be nice, right? If we could have a little bit of flexibility. And then that's why I really wanted this vertigo map to work, because I felt like if it didn't, then we're not going to get that option ever come up. And now that it's not really working out, and there seems to be a lot of problems with this map, and obviously, you know, it's still relatively early on, so you never know, but I don't know.
I mean, when Overpass came out, like, it wasn't good. It was bad. Like, people didn't like it, but it kind of still made sense. It was still like, you look at it, you go, that's like a CS map. This makes sense.
Yeah.
And the few little changes like of pathing, and map's really good now. I have no idea how you'd fix Vertigo.
Yeah.
You're constantly worried about someone being behind you, because the CT can just like rappel down an elevator and just be in T spawn, like just rolling like through your stuff, just like stealing your shoes and shit just as you get out. Like, it's so fucking weird. Like, it doesn't even make sense. It's like a COD map. It's so small. There's like, with the changes they made with the new maps, I feel like it's kind of refreshed it a bit, but I don't know what they're going to do after. Like, once they've done Cache and whatever, like maybe a Mirage, like they're out of refreshing. And maps like Overpass and now Mirage, because they open the skybox, are good because people are still finding things. People still finding warbangs and wacky boosts and all this sort of stuff. So the map is still like exciting because people just come in with this new thing. You're like, oh, holy shit! Like 5-man boost from T-spawn, nice. But like, I don't know what the hell you can do with Vertigo.
Yeah,
there's roofs everywhere. There's like one staircase on each side, and the fuck do you do?
Yeah, you got a point. It does seem like it's not really.
It's so enclosed. You're forced to just doing the same stuff, I feel. Like,
no, very little creativity like that can be used on it. You know, do you have?
And it's cluttered.
Do you have a map that you would put in place of that? I know a lot of people said Season. Cobble. You like Cobble?
What? Not the Cobble they've done. What they've done to
Oh
it.
yeah.
Like, Cobble had problems, but like they took those problems and went, okay, yep, and just removed half the map and just left like what I feel were the problems there. So it's like, fuck. Like,
yeah.
T-spawn's just now in a different spot, but like drop is still awful. You probably made it worse. Cool. But like Tuscan would be sick. Like, if they could actually get that. Season has just too long of like rotation times on CT. I feel like playing that in Source was just a headache. Tuscan I always liked though, but like of the maps they have now, like probably Cobble. I haven't played like, was it Canals or Abbey and those things? I haven't touched those. Like, I won't until I have to. Like, if they make it like an official, but
Canals always seemed really big to me, but I honestly would prefer that. I just don't think this verticality works.
Yeah, the sound, like, Nuke is bad enough.
Yeah.
Like, they've improved it a bit, but Vertigo, you don't know where they're going. Like, as a CT, you just hear that, and then all of a sudden, there's either 5 smokes at A, or there's a dude in your face. And then the same thing for Ts. Like, you hear the CT's in mid, all of a sudden there's a dude dack-dacking you down through the hole, which Sterling already knows and does every time. Like, just dack through the hole, like, wallbanging you through 6 different things. And then there's another one, like, in the elevator, just chasing you with an eye. Like, well, what do you do? It just makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird.
Yeah. There's problems in those maps for sure. So, obviously, to segue out of that, it's probably a horrible segue, but I'm going to do it anyway. With the competitive side of CS, right? I've seen a lot of people, or I've interviewed a few people now, where it seems like there was always this desire to play competitively. So, how long before you picked up the game did you decide, okay, I want to play this, you know, in a competitive environment?
Well, it's basically like when I moved schools. So you're WA, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I moved from like Midland to Mandurah. So that was before the train was there. So as like a 12-year-old, good luck. Your friends are gone.
Yeah.
Like, so I stopped playing like physical sports and just started playing like a bunch of COD 2. And then eventually someone was like, "Oh man, like you're good, come play this." And then I found out what a scrim was and just like progressed from there.
Yeah.
So I've always just played FPSs. I've just jumped from one to the other, like just playing the competitive side of it.
Did you play competitive in COD 4 then?
I did a bit, but I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
So I went back to COD 2 for a bit, and that's when I started playing Source.
Hmm.
So I swapped to Source. I didn't like COD 4 too much. Um, yeah, then there was like I kept moving houses to places with bad internet, so I had to keep stop starting. But like I played Sevo in Source like for a bit, and yeah, when I had good internet, I just started playing Go again when I had time.
You mentioned that you played sports back in Midland. So what sports were you involved in?
Mostly baseball. So, like I played basketball until realized I wasn't growing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm out. Like everyone's getting far too tall. But yeah, baseball is like I still like it, but yeah, this just replaced like sports for me.
Yeah.
Like my dad is like a huge nerd. Like he plays games and stuff like that, but I very rarely play like casual stuff for fun. I just play the competitive side of whatever I'm touching.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
just replace sports basically.
Replace sports. Okay. Yeah. See that's what I was wondering, right? Is that there does seem to be. I remember the reason I started playing Counter Strike. Obviously, not a professional. Never went anywhere near pro. But like for me, I was big into the basketball area, right, and really competitive with that, and really liked that. And then once that sort of fell off and people started separating and going their separate ways, that's when I sort of went into Counter-Strike and went, okay, well, it does sort of fill that competitive grind of, and especially that adrenaline you get, when you do that 1v2 clutch and you win a game. Yeah.
It's straight up addictive, and it's easier to do than like conventional sports. You just
Yeah.
move 10 feet to your computer, and then all of a sudden you're like doing a best of three.
Do you
Like,
do you remember the first moment that you realized that the adrenaline that you had in sports could be replaced by video games?
yeah, it was like my first like official in COD 2. Like I still remember it. I pretended I was like 16.
Yeah.
I was 13. So I said my mic didn't work. I was the best liar, but I was really good. Like just ran around and just basically like hard carried them with no mic. Which, like, it was COD, you could do that. Like, it's no problem. But, like, I was super nervous. I was so fucking scared. Like, and I remember I was like quarantine, I think, and I'm just sitting in the window, just like shaking over a game. And, like, yeah, from then I was just like trying to get better and better and better, and just kept going. Yeah, I remember like that almost entire map.
Yeah. I've got similar ones of just even in I remember I was probably like Silverman. Do you know what I mean? Like some stupid match, but I just remember specific clutches where I was like, oh shit, this is definitely going to replace that, right? And it's like it is amazing how it can do that. And I always thought as soon as I realized there was a professional scene for it, I was like, okay, I have to be involved in this somehow. Because it combines both worlds for me, especially. I was always a gaming nerd, I guess, or whatever. But I also really liked competitive sports, right? And I still follow NBA and football and all those things, right? And then combining those two things together is what happened with Counter-Strike. So it is a crazy experience when you finally get that replacement there of that adrenaline. So how long did it take you before you you started to calm those nerves down and you could play in a serious, without shaking all the time?
Like honestly, it probably kept happening until like maybe like a year ago. Like for some things, like the big qualifiers, whatever. Like I'd still like kind of get nervous and whatnot. But that's kind of gone now with like, yeah, I've just like gotten better, like moods and all that sort of shit. But yeah, it was still pretty recent. Like if it was really important, like I just feel like you have to like do something, or like you're holding for the like a push in a 1v1, like he's coming, you just have to wait. You just like, fuck, what if he doesn't come this way? What if he comes behind me? Oh no, like it still happens now, like every now and then, but like a whole game just sitting there like stressing Doesn't happen too much anymore, but like yeah, like a year ago, it's still happening.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I always
for some
found
people it
that.
doesn't go. Like there's pros that still choke, like in Europe and stuff. Like for some people, they have it forever. Like
I always found that incredible. I remember even the most recent major when I saw that Ents lineup. I mean, apart from Alu, right? It's still a completely new lineup in the major final, and they didn't win it. But I can't imagine how you could even play a game of Counter Strike when you're in those circumstances and not just be shitting yourself the entire time. You know?
that's the clutch against Simple, and the guy didn't even give a fuck.
Oh yeah,
And they're just like, yeah, dude, easy. Like I would just be like screaming.
yeah.
I feel like most people would feel like they would be screaming. This guy didn't give a fuck.
Just
He was just like, man, I can't wait to get home and just get in bed. This
Yeah.
is so boring.
It's-
Like Simple's losing his mind. Like, oh, I can't believe I fucking lost it. I did so much. This guy didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. He's like,
he didn't care what happened before. He's like, no,
I know you
my
just no scoped my teammate through fucking
But
Mirage,
you didn't
but
win, did you?
didn't win. Jesus, it's like
Like that.
that
I
was
get it.
X7 as well. That was like the guy that just suddenly turned up at that tournament. He was like, you know what? I'm sick of being shit. I'm just gonna play really well
I'm
now.
a stone cold killer now.
Yeah,
Get out of my way.
yeah, that's crazy, man. That is incredible that there are people that don't have that can just be completely unemotional about that. Now, for you, would it be fair to classify you as an emotional player, you think?
Probably still, yeah. Like definitely before, but like I still every now and then, I guess. Like I get down on myself now more than anything. Like if I like am playing shit, I'll just be like, man, I'm playing shit, and like sometimes I won't be able to shake that. Like kind of just like have a little mini slump in the game. Like man, I suck. Like I can't do anything, and it'll just for the rest of the map just get worse and worse and worse. But so I guess that would be like emotional player.
Yeah. So do you think that so like you said there that you find it difficult to come out of that slump, and I think Moe said that as well, where sometimes he feels the lead getting away and it just seems like it's slipping away all the time. Is there any sort of method that you've come up with that you can sort of tick your mind back in, or is that still something that you're working on at the moment?
It's hard to deal with. Like I mean, Australis, they had issues with it, and they had to get like a professional like sports psychic to help them with that. It's kind of like you get in this mindset of playing to not lose, and it makes you lose. Like if you were confident, you might take this fight, or you might get a teammate to flash you into some spot or something like that. But when you're like playing not to lose, you don't do it. You don't want to be the guy that's just throwing the whole thing away. Like you don't want to die, and then your team just be like, dude, what the fuck? Like, so you kind of just sit there, and then the guy peeks you and kills you. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, you don't want to push to get the win, but you don't want to like play passive. It's hard. You just got to keep like doing what you've practiced. Like, if you start going, no, we need to do this, we need to do that, it's like you haven't practiced any of that. Just keep doing like what's been working. Yeah, don't start doing extra risky shit or stop doing what you were doing before. It's hard, honestly. That's how chokes happen.
Would you say it's or when you get in these situations? So obviously, I've watched a few of your games where you're in a map and you're firing ahead the rest of your teammates, right? And you're getting into this situation where maybe you're not winning. And I've always thought that I can imagine that's frustrating for anyone, right? So what are the sort of steps that you take? And do you find it difficult sometimes to sort of be like, all right, I've got to do my own thing here, and I've got to just do what I can? Do you know what I mean? Is there?
Yeah, it's kind of like that's what got me into like a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Earlier on, like especially with like as you're coming up, and if you are good and like you're having to play like CGA or whatever it is now, like whatever they call it, but you're already like better than your team, like because you've just played another game or whatever it is. It's hard. Like it's hard to be like, I've got to start here. Like fuck, and I didn't like handle it well. Like I kind of just let everyone know that I'm better than you. Fuck you, and that's what like just progressively just kept getting me into shit. Like now, like as an example with the Surge guys, when I filled in for them against Chiefs, I was just like, well, I'm here to like try and help you guys get a win. Like, what am I doing? Where do you want me? Like I played the spots they wanted to put me in. and like a couple of times I asked if I could call something like to help Senpai out because he was the in-game leader there,
Yeah.
and yeah, like at the end, I was like, "Cool, we got a map, sick." Like we probably shouldn't have got that.
Yeah.
Um, with Avant, I was told like sometimes like you say things that aren't really negative, but it's just like the way you say them can like especially if like you're losing, it definitely can be taken the wrong way. So yeah, some of the things I say like that are meant to be positive like kind of sound like just like cunt cunt things to say. Even now, and it's still something I actively work on because like I genuinely don't mean it that way, but sometimes it's just like it seems like I'm whinging or whatever.
Yeah.
Like when I'm streaming, I whinge on purpose. Like otherwise the stream's boring as fuck. Whatever.
Entertainment.
But, yeah, basically you have to keep talking shit, otherwise people are gonna get bored. But that's what I'm actively working on now. It's just like trying to sound positive. Like, because even if like it doesn't matter what you're saying, if you sound like you're a miserable cunt, it kind of gets on everyone else's nerves. But, yeah.
So so I can imagine even the tone that you're coming across in certain situations, it can definitely be misread. Now, do you think that what do you think is like the correct way then to phrase things? Because obviously, is there a more value you think in just being, not talking at all, or like you said, is it like, okay, I have to work on almost being the opposite of that negative side and just being super positive? What's the route for you think?
Well, I think like what my problem mostly was like instead of just like I'd say something. I'm trying to think of an example. Fuck. Like just things that just weren't positive at all. So I just changed everything I was saying to like, oh, bad luck, like good try. That's all I just started saying.
Yeah.
And I got like positive feedback from that. Because I wasn't being like, man, you fucking suck. Like, what are you doing? It's just like, man, fuck. Like at the end of the night, like when we lose, it's like just something like that, like oh shit, or a sigh, like that's what I was doing, and like that'd piss you off. Like if you've lost and like you've just lost to 1v1 and you hear your teammate like, oh fuck, like yeah, no shit. Like so I just tried to change all of it into like, let's try, man, like just forcing it out, like, and yeah, that's what I'm trying to do now. But it seems to be working for the most part, but still I get caught up sometimes.
Listen, I think that the important thing is that that you're aware of that, and then that you're also definitely trying to make progress in that route, right? And I think that's sometimes what people get wrong when they talk about you, is that I don't think there's any real negative intention there. I just think that you're, like you said, you're a passionate player, right? And sometimes there's a lot of emotion there, and maybe even the subtlest thing like a sigh can come across the wrong way, especially because you've got to imagine that the person who's clutching or whatever is even more annoyed at themselves that they lost that.
Down. Yeah, you've just like made it worse. Like I think that's the case now. Like if you said that like a year and a half ago, 2 years, I'd have to like disagree. Like I was a cunt.
Yeah.
It was just like angry for no reason sort of shit. Like I was that guy that'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like in the pub, like, and you're just like, man, what's wrong with this guy? What a retard, like kind of thing.
Is it true that you had the record for the most bans or most people blocked on ESEA?
No, so there was heaps of people that had the max lists. I was the guy that had the universal list. So everyone copied my list.
Brilliant.
Like, I started that. I feel like I probably killed ESEA, honestly. As soon as I shared my block list, everyone started using it, and then games weren't popping, and I probably killed ESEA.
That's
like, fuck, my bad. Now I'm playing Face, and I hate my life. So,
every day
for me, yeah, I did that to myself. But like, that was something that I had to like recognize outside of CS and fix. And there's heaps of people that are running around like that now. Like, I don't want to like name names on because you might get like all some Twitter and shit. But like, there's these people running around like just causing havoc, and they don't like understand what the fuck they're doing. As an example, yesterday I was playing a pog. It was the first pog of the night, and some dude just started screaming at me and like telling me he's gonna kill me and shit. He's in high school. He's in year 12.
Brilliant.
And then he comes into my stream and like starts saying, "Oh, I've got bipolar. I'm sorry." like I want to be an FPLC. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like in an hour, you've just went the full spectrum of like emotion. Like that's kind of what I used to do. Like just be a fucking dick for no reason, and then be like, oh shit, I've just burnt every bridge. And I feel like that's followed me. So now people like aside from me, it's just like me just laying it out on you, and they're just like, fuck this guy, he is toxic. It's true.
Yeah.
Like yeah, but it's gotten a lot fucking better. And
When,
I feel like Gunzer is happy with it. So
yeah, no, definitely. When you see those players that you see a bit of your old self in, is there? Now this obviously there could be no real like yeah, okay, you're an asshole. But do you ever like look at that and go, man, I see a lot of myself in you, and have you ever come out to anybody and been like, listen, man, you got to stop doing this, all right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a big one right now that's kind of fucked himself that I've been like, dude.
Because I imagine from you, right, you're probably the best person to tell them that, right? To be like, listen, learn from the struggle that I went through. That
I cooked myself, don't be me, kind of thing. Yeah, like I've had that conversation with a couple of like younger players, and it's honestly like most of them still do it anyway, and then they cook themselves.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of people that do like ask me questions and like kind of get advice, and I'm pretty open with it. Like, just like whatever, like if it helps them, that's cool. But yeah, like as much as I can try and help them, I do. But usually it's just, I don't know, they just get on Twitter and start just posting shit, and then they do it. They do exactly what I did. So
when you I'm going to use a sports reference here. So when you are in these situations where, you're a far way ahead of the rest of your teammates, right? And you're in this situation. To use a sports reference, sometimes when you get in these games where, like, I'll throw it back to Kobe because that's who I grew up with. But he gets in those situations where he's scoring 40 points. Do you know what I mean? And I remember, I think there's a quote somewhere of him saying something like, I'm just going to take every shot. And maybe only half of them go in, but I trust myself more than anyone else. So is there scenarios in which you get into a map where you go, fuck it, I'm going to push through this smoke, right? Because if it's not me that does it, then nobody else will. Do you ever get into that like unfortunate situation where now you're making over exertions of plays just because you feel like the pressure's on you?
Yeah, like it definitely happens. Like if it's like a really close game and you're just like, oh, something needs to happen, like someone needs to like force this or enter this side or whatever. Like I think a lot of people will do it. Like now though, like if I've played well, I'm usually pretty happy. Like I'm not gonna like I've somehow fucked my monitor during this. Just as a FYI, if I look panicked, it's because I fucked my monitor.
Jesus.
So, while I answer this, I'm gonna probably cry.
Oh, you totally lost your monitor?
Alright, it's good. I'm back.
Okay.
Alright. So there's even the game against Atletico the other night. I was like, fuck, we're stuck. This T side is awful. And I've just run through Annex and got a 3k and like try to make something happen. Like I feel like a lot of players will get like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like at the end of it, like I'll just be like, okay, I did what I could. I need to improve this, and this. Like I'm happy. Like unless I played shit, if I played shit personally, I'll be like, fuck, man. Like I did that. But like I won't really like sit there and just like remember team mistakes or play like things that I like saw and just be like, oh, it was their fault. I just kind of focus on me now, on that like critical aspect.
Yeah.
And then when we review team and fix team shit, I bring up stuff then. But I don't like dwell on it any. So
is that something that in your lineup that you work on where, because I think definitely in some of the lower lineups, it seems like maybe, I remember even when Sponge was casting this one time for a qualifier, I think it was, and there was that audio that happened, the in-game audio. I can't remember what team it was.
Was it Mirage?
I think it might have been. Was it?
I know the one you're talking about. Yeah. It wasn't me. If that's what you're going to say.
Okay.
No, it wasn't me. Right. I know who it was, but
just
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
But that conversation mid-game where it was like, there's no reason to have this conversation in-game. Is that something that you still come across a lot, or is that do you think now the game's a little bit more refined when it comes to, okay, just play the game, and then afterwards we'll have our argument or whatever.
I know for a fact when we versed them, that same thing happened. And the same person on the same map. So it still happens.
Yeah.
Like, some people just like that. Like, Cal or Burn on our team, when we're talking as a team, he's very blunt. And we've kind of all said, yeah, we're fine with it. So he'll just be like, you fucked this up. And he'll just be like, you did this, you fucked it up, fix it. And we're all like, cool, whatever. But like, if he'll never do that during the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, time and place. Like, if he's like, you fucked that up, like, fix that, you're not going to make that player do anything better. He's just going to like play worse from now on because he's just like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. So yeah, it does happen, but I think most people are like at the top level are aware, like, don't do that because it's going to make it so much worse.
So
but I think in CSGO you probably hear a lot of that shit. Like, honestly,
yeah, definitely. It's not something that I expect out of anyone really, other than the top maybe 6, and even in there, I can imagine there's probably times where you just, people just
someone just loses it.
Yeah, you have a bad day or whatever. So,
yeah.
I wanted to talk about this Ground Zero lineup with you because obviously you've just come into this one now, and you were looking really good at the minor, and Mo was talking about a change in the way you guys are playing. So, what were you? Are you happy with the new way that your lineup is playing right now? Do you think is that more? Does that work more for you, or was that more for the younger players to kind of, get out of their shell, I guess?
I think it was a change that like had to be made when I came in, because like the first probably a week or so, like I kind of just filled extinct spots, and a lot of these spots just didn't weren't for me at all.
Yeah,
it just made no sense me being there. Like on Nuke, for instance, I was Annex and Burn was Ramps, and we were just like, man, we fucking suck at this map. Like, what's going on? And we just swapped me and him, changed nothing else, and it's just like instantly better.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few spots that just got changed around completely, and our T sides, like Moe's obviously like infamous for just like watching demos nonstop and having like a strat book like that, like just cheddar cheese fucking thickness, and we're kind of like still using a lot of that, but like much looser, like being a little more defaulty and not so like this strat. Because you have like Void, Zemp, and me, and even like Cal, just like really loose players, and it seems to be working at T sides, but CT needs a little bit of work.
Yeah,
team play and stuff, synergy.
Is CT generally more structured than a T side in most teams?
I think CT's more like individual, like at the base level, because like you have your spot with the person you're with. That's it. Like you don't, for the most part, like sometimes you will, like you don't really care what the other side is doing on a lot of maps. Like it doesn't affect you too much. Whereas on T, like everyone's got like a plan to do something together. Like a fake on one side, it like, will affect the other side, etc. But CT is just hold your spot and don't fucking die. So yeah, I think CT is a bit more individual.
With Moe being in the lineup now, obviously he's a player that has a ridiculous amount of experience. What is some things that you've taken from him so far? Because I can imagine that getting an opportunity to play with somebody like him is probably a pretty big deal.
Well, it's him and Burn, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
sorry, yeah, my bad.
Oh, like Moe has like, I don't want to say definitely has more like experience, but like he's done way more than I probably will do, like before I quit.
Yeah.
But him and Burn, like Burn's a lot more blunt, I feel, like to me especially, because he knows like I'm just like, yeah, just give it to me, like fucking treat me bad. And so I'm just like, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Like if I fuck up something and I don't notice, just tell me. So that's what I'm gaining the most. Just fix anything that I'm doing wrong, really. And it's just slowly that will keep building up, hopefully. Like I'll just keep seeing shit that I'm doing wrong. But that's what I'm trying to pull mostly.
Yeah. So it's almost like you're kind of using them to refine your game, I guess, which is
basically, yeah.
Yeah, what I feel like a lot of players need, and that's why I thought that. I mean, I don't want to say I called it, but I'm pretty certain that I heavy called you to Ground Zero as soon as you got out of that event lineup. There's actually video footage of me doing it, so I just want to get that on record.
It was actually a team that I wanted to join like as soon as it happened, I kind of had my eyes on them because it
Yeah.
was the only one that made sense. Like even like now, nothing's gonna happen, but like then order ground, nothing was gonna change, and even if it did, like I couldn't really see myself fitting in
Hmm.
to a spot that would open up. I felt, but ground zero was just like in my face, like you could fit into that, and it would be better, like just off the bat, and then it would get better over time. So I'm pretty happy it worked out this way.
Yeah, because it does seem like getting you under Moe is a good move, right? And I thought that Burn as well, you Moe and Burn, and obviously you got the two young players there who definitely have the ability and have shown the ability to sort of kick it off when they need to. It seems like the foundation is there, and it's always fun to watch a team like Ground Zero sort of build themselves up, and I do like watching your games, especially because you can kind of see the progression there being made.
Yeah.
And it does seem like you've got all the right pieces right now. So see where that can take you. Right now, you've got some strong opponents in, Genuine Gaming, and I guess you could say Avant, because they probably need to do a little bit more before you could put them in that top four. But those are your sort of opponents right now. Can you think of anybody else that I'm forgetting?
I think at that probably that would be it. Like I don't think Paradox has kind of dropped off, honestly. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing against them. I just feel like the changes that they made and the pickups they made are like they've dropped off.
Yeah.
Just like off skill, really. Like they made some weird moves, in my opinion.
It's hard because they have players that can't attend to certain tournaments because of their age, and
Yeah.
then they weren't in MDL, and I know
Which
that
honestly affects it even more. Like if you swapping players in and out,
Yeah.
like they lost two players. Like it's rough when you lose two players and you have to quickly like scrounge someone else. But on top of that, having to swap players in and out, like that must be just absolutely fucked to practice and try and work around,
yeah.
which would affect them even more.
I think for a little bit, it's going to be we'll just sit here and we'll wait for that one to come out and let Paradox maybe develop for a little bit longer, and then once you've seen that full lineup, then you can make a judgment call on whether or not they're up there with Avant, Genuine, and you guys. So, talking once again about that Genuine and Avant lineups, what are the main sort of problems that you see with your team matching up against them, without obviously not giving away too much of whatever your plans are?
Well, when we lost to Genuine like last week in LPL, we played shit. Like it was like one of the worst games that we played so far. Like that it was just bad all over. We've versed them before that, and it was pretty easy to beat them. Honestly, I didn't like come out of that and go fuck. We're like worse than Genuine or we're on par with Genuine. Like I was like, man, we played shit. I think like 9 times out of 10 we should beat them. Honestly, like I feel that way. They're all young players as far as I know. Genuine, like they're all real young, just like kind of puggy players. Yeah, like so they do a lot of shit that gets them caught off. Like if they're all dropping like 30, it's kind of like the order thing where they'll just beat you, but you should be able to just like teamwork them out. And we have before. That Inferno game was just really bad. APOC just ran around
Yeah,
like a turret.
they definitely have a very skilled lineup, and that's the thing with them. It's also why they're very exciting to watch, because it is just
For sure.
Jesus,
That's the stuff that's fun to watch. Like this, like Simple's fun to watch because it's just like fucking everywhere,
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
a demon. Like, that's the stuff that's fun, not Astralis like perfect nade usage. That's boring.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, listen. I'll say that I don't mind it, right? And I can appreciate the greatness, right? Of like,
Oh, I can appreciate it,
but it is the same with like when you watch like Golden State play, where it's like they should win. And that's always the problem for me, is that I really want to be like, I mean, it's crazy when you think about it, because how many times has Zipnix won some crazy fucking clutch, and you're just like, oh my lord. Do you know what I mean? There is always those highlight plays, but it just feels like...
I kind of put Zipnix to Flix. I say this to Flix all the time, and when we're like people spectating him, I've never seen him lose a 1v2.
Yeah.
Ever. I've never seen Flix lose a 1v2. Like, he's won. Like, that's it. Whether our team, their team, pug or not, mate, he's won. And it always happens. That's fun to watch, though. Like, Flix it's weird. 1v2, he's won.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing.
Yeah, it is fun to watch that, and it is also that's why segueing into this ESL Australian New Zealand Championship Season 8 finals is coming up. Is that you've got a really nice team there, Genuine, and with the way the order's kind of fallen off right now, it does sort of give you some little openings that Genuine might be able to, seriously turn up at this tournament, especially if they've got their players hitting their shots. So talking about this, the main upset here is obviously Fighting for Freedom.
Yeah.
Is that do you have any sort of expectation from them? Apart from it obviously being like, obviously it's Top Gun. Do you know what I mean? Like, all respect to the god Top Gun. Do you know what I mean?
Top Gun's what got me into playing Source.
Yeah.
Watching Deagle clips. That's why I practiced the Deagle. That's why I like run around with it now. Like, he formed me, that man. But like, he can sometimes just like he'll turn up and he'll just go back a few years and just fuck you, like just out of the blue. It happens.
It's crazy, right? When you see that.
I've had it happen to me.
Oh.
I've seen it from my POV, it happening to me. So, I mean, it could happen. I don't. Who are they versing? Does it say? Do you know?
Oh Jesus! I just saw this as an advert on Reddit. That had the bracket, but
well, if they're versing Genuine, that could be pretty spicy.
Yeah.
But like,
oh man, there's no way I'm going to be able to find this.
I feel like Chiefs will win though, the whole thing.
Yeah, they look like they're going to be the hard favourite. I don't know what you can say when it comes to that Fighting for Freedom lineup, because obviously it would be a fairy tale story, but it's going to be difficult. They played well at the qualifiers; they deserve to be there, no doubt. But do you know what I mean? Like, it is going to be difficult now. Oh, here we go. Okay, I got the bracket. So the first matchup is Chiefs and Genuine in the upper final, I guess, and then the lower bracket. So the way it's going to work is the loser of Genuine Gaming and Chiefs will play the winner of Order versus Fighting for Freedom.
Okay.
So Chiefs versus Genuine, Order versus Fighting for Freedom, winner of that versus loser of Chiefs versus Genuine Gaming.
I think Order would be like the worst matchup for Fighting for Freedom, honestly, because like I think they're playing with Nikes now. Like, Phoebe and that team are really good, and like Top Gun can be really good when he wants to. Bots knows, like, he's pretty decent in-game leader, and from the streams I've watched, he's like pretty like serious about it. So like, it's not like they're rocking up just to fuck around. But Order's probably the worst matchup for them, because Order will just like run at them and just no respect them and pug them, and it will probably work because they're sharp. Yeah, and especially on lane when they're all screaming at each other, because they're all pretty like emotional players and people. So it's gonna be rough, honestly. I feel if Fighting for Freedom win, fuck me, just fuck me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main advantage for Order is it's not on a final, right? So they can't come second if they lose to Fighting for Freedom. So
that's 400 IQ shit.
Yeah, it really is. So they'll be moving forward, I would imagine, and then it'll be Order. Problem with Genuine Gaming is that they are playing well, but Chiefs are on. I don't know. Like, you guys played really well against Chiefs, actually, in the MDL. Okay, you did play well, right? It was all 3 maps.
Yeah, 2 maps. Yeah.
2 maps, was it?
It was 3 OTs on Nuke.
Oh. Yeah.
It was like a 3-hour thing, and it was 2 maps. It was 3 OTs, then Overpass, we got fucked on CT, and I was kind of like, oh, well, this is rough. And then T-side, we somehow brought it back and then lost 16-14. Yeah. So we really dragged out the loss there, like made it really sting. Yeah. But we got close.
Would you say that Nuke right now is your best map? The team's best map?
I guess it's something that we're confident on. Don't know if it's like our best, but like it's something that we've played enough in scrims and a couple of officials against Order stuff, which we actually won. And we're like, everyone's in good spots, like on both sides, everyone's comfortable. There's a few maps where we're kind of like still fixing things or still moving people around or still changing a couple of things, but Nuke we've kind of like finished. Yeah. But yeah, so I guess we're picking it, so we think we're good on it.
Yeah. So Yeah, so Chiefs versus Genuine, it's going to be rough. I can't predict against Chiefs there, so I'm going to say they're going to take that one.
Mhm.
Then it would be Genuine versus Order, and that's when it gets spicy because you don't know, you never know. That's
It could be like Order just running through them and just like beating them, or it could just be a shit show of like a best of 3.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
just could be an absolute mess, like with just things that shouldn't be happening non-stop.
Right.
Could be one of those.
It's definitely that to me is, apart from obviously Chiefs versus Order rematch, Genuine versus Order is going to be, I feel like, a good match out of that.
It could be a good one. Depending on maps as well. Like if it's like if Order do get nuked and stuff through it, it will be a bit rougher. But if it's like a Mirage and like an overpass or something, it could be fun.
So
I don't know what I would actually pick though.
Are you going to take? So you're going to take Chiefs then for the final?
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna win the whole thing.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like a lackluster LAN from what it was meant to be. Like, kind of always happens with these things. Though, like, it always a scheduling conflict or something, or a team pulls out and it ends up being like a 2 or 3 team LAN every single time.
Yeah.
And I think Chiefs I think they're the better team on paper, unless Order just rock up. It could happen, but
yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure. This has been a great episode, and I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me, man. It's always enjoyable to watch you play, so I'm glad that you could come on here and, say your piece. So I wish you the best of luck with that Ground Zero lineup. I'll be following from the future. Is there anything you want to plug? Anything you've got?
And I'm going to go play Pugs for the next, 8 hours.
Okay.
And I'm probably going to die. So that's my plug. Someone fucking save me. Stop me from doing this to myself.
So
that's all I can say. Someone SOS, please.
Yeah, send help to Panic because he needs it. Anyway, all right, guys, that's been episode 12. Thank you guys for listening in, and we'll catch you next time. I think the next one's going to be Monday, but scheduling issues, so who the hell knows. Something will happen at some point in the next week. So I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.